Remember, when you're watching this video, if there's anything that you like, check the comments in the description because I'll give you Amazon links where you can go find it and buy it yourself. Now, let's take a look at Moultrie's brand new Edge Pro 2 trail camera. Whether you are a trail camera novice or you've been using them for a long time, these Moultrie Edge trail cameras are fantastic. They just came out with the Edge 2 and the Edge Pro 2. Now, I did a review on the Edge 2. I will link it in the upper left-hand side if you want to take a look at it. But for this video, we are going to concentrate on the Edge Pro 2, and that's what I've got right here. Now, first things first is I am not sponsored by Moultrie. They did not send me these cameras for free. I purchased these cameras because I've done quite a bit of research and I'm looking for other camera options. So I've been happy with what I've heard about Moultrie from talking with current users. Also, keep in mind, while you're watching this video, the way I make money off these videos is by you clicking on the links that I'm going to put in the comments and the description. If you like this camera or anything else you see in this video, check out those links and use them because I get a little bit of a commission from Amazon. It's how I make money and buy new products in order to make more content. So it helps me out quite a bit and I'd appreciate your support on that. This video is going to be kind of long because we are going to talk about everything from this camera, from its features to unboxing to how to power it to putting it in the woods. So I have broken the video down into different chapters. So if you already purchased your camera and you want to learn how to use it, just go ahead to the activation section. If you are looking into this camera and it's something you're thinking about, then watch it right now from the beginning. So hopefully that will help you find what you're looking for in this video. If I miss anything, do me a favor, drop me a comment, let me know what I missed, and maybe I can edit it into the video. So here is the Moultrie Mobile Edge Pro 2. They just came out with these cameras, I think a couple weeks ago, and I was lucky enough to be able to get one before they ran out at first, but I think they've restocked now. So I will tell you some of the features and benefits of this camera that I really like about it. Now, number one, it has a auto connect on it, so there is no more dealing with purchasing a Verizon or a AT&T camera or getting a camera and having two different SIM cards to install. The SIM cards are already in this camera, and when you turn it on, the camera will automatically connect whatever the best signal is that it can get, and it will use that network. So it doesn't matter where you are, it picks up the best signal, which is fantastic. Also, there is always a lot of concern with memory cards. This camera has all internal memory. There is 8 gigabytes of internal memory. And then what happens is if you fill up that 8 gigabytes of memory, you can click a setting where it will automatically delete the oldest picture. Now, don't worry because you don't actually lose that picture. Those pictures are stored on the app and on your computer. So you have your pictures at the palm of your hand, whether they are in the internal memory or not. There is also a great feature. I'm not sure if it's active yet on this camera or it's going to be soon, but there's an on-demand picture feature for these cameras. So if you get a picture of a deer at your in front of your camera and you want to see what's going on, maybe you have a 5-minute delay set and you want to check it out, see what's going on now, you just go into your app, click on demand picture, it will take a picture right then. That is also a great feature if you want to use this camera for any sort of security monitoring, or if you want to see what's going on at any general time. Let's say you've got this camera at a hunting camp and you want to see if there's been a snowstorm that have come through. So you can click on demand and you can see the condition of whatever's going on out there. The camera has some better specs than the regular Edge, and it has great specs compared to other trail cameras from different brands. First of all, this camera takes 40 megapixel pictures, which is a great resolution, and your videos are in 1440 HD with sound. So you've got HD videos and you've got a great resolution of pictures, which is really nice to have in a trail camera. The trigger speed is also a little bit better than the regular Edge, and it is on par with some of the other manufacturers. It's 0.3 seconds trigger speed, which is very fast when something moves in front of your camera. And it's, I mean, is there really that big of a difference between 0.3 and 0.4 seconds? But we all know faster is better. When you set this camera up, this camera has the no glow technology in the LEDs. So at night, when it takes a picture, there will be no visible light on the front of this camera. A lot of people think that visible light will spook animals. Personally, I haven't noticed a difference between the low glow and the no glow, but if that's a concern of yours, this camera has the no glow technology in it. And when we talk about triggering, let's talk about how far. The distance, the advertised distance on this camera is 100 feet. And I have noticed with these cameras and others that, yes, they advertise 100 feet. However, if you set this camera up optimally, a lot of times it's going to trigger farther out than 100 feet. And I've seen it happen before. So don't be surprised if you get pictures of animals moving out past 100 feet. And as far as power options go for this camera, there is a neat feature on this that I will not take advantage of, but you may like it. The battery tray holds 16 AA batteries. You can run this camera with only 8 batteries, or you can put all 16 batteries into it. So it gives you a little bit of a flexibility there when powering your camera. Now we will talk about in-depth powering options a little bit further along in the video, but now that we've talked about some of the features and the benefits of this camera and using Moultrie, let's get this sucker out of the box. Let's get it opened up and take a look at it and get it taking pictures. Now that we have talked about some of the great things about this camera, let's get to opening the box up and see what's inside. So one of the things that I really like that Moultrie does is right inside the box when you flip it open, there is this little code here you can scan to activate the camera. I don't use it because there's one inside the camera already, but it's just another little thing that I like that they do. We are going to first see what's in the box here. Number one, the camera. I'm just going to set that aside and we'll look at everything else that's in here. There is a strap to mount this to the tree stand. There is also what I like here, they give you this adjustable mount for when you mount this using the strap to the tree. However, I do not use either of these. When we talk about at the end of this video deploying the camera, I'll show you what I use to mount my cameras on the tree. There is also this little clip they include. I love this little clip because I use external power sources for my camera. This little clip will go into the bottom of the camera and it will help you hold the power cable in place for an external battery or an external solar panel. I like this little guy and I definitely use it. And then I see a little thing here that says pull. We're going to pull that and I'm assuming that is going to be, yep, it is the little quick start guide and there is a sticker in there. So this stuff, oh, 2 stickers, look at that, and your little quick start guide to help you. But what I have found is it's good to take a quick look through the quick start guide. However, the app is fantastic for setting up these cameras. It is going to walk you through it step by step and show you how to get the camera up and running. So let me get this box out of the way first. And now we have the camera, and let's take a look at this camera. It is probably, I'd say, about the same size as a Link Micro if you look at the front dimensions. When you turn it to the side, it is probably about as thick as a Tacticam Reveal. So if you've used any of those other cameras before, it kind of gives you an idea of what the size of the camera is. Another thing that I like about this camera is that the antenna is attached, so all you have to do is fold that antenna up. You can feel it sort of click into a little detent, and it is ready to go. If you look at the back of the camera here, you'll see the slots where the strap goes through if you are going to use the strap to mount it to the tree. And you will also see these little ridges that are going to help you hold it to the tree in place, and that is also what engages that adjustable mount that it comes with. On the bottom here, you can see there is a brass insert for a mounting screw, which is what I use when I mount my cameras. You'll see it later on in this video. It is a standard 1/4x20 threaded mounting boss. And then over here there is a little rubber cover, and if you open that up, that is where you plug in your external batteries that you're going to use on this camera if you choose to use them. So that pretty much covers everything on the outside of the, well, let's talk about the front of the camera when you look at it. This down here, I think they call it a Fresnel lens. That is the part that covers up the motion sensor in the camera and protects it. Above that is the aperture for the camera. Above that is a little status light, and then on each side of the camera are the covers where the LEDs are for your flash at night. And again, this camera is no glow technology, so when the camera takes a picture at night, you will not see anything light up in this camera. On the right side of the camera there is a little latch, and if you flip that latch and open up the camera, this camera looks inside just like the regular Edge does. It is amazingly simple, and it's one of the great features that I like about these Moultrie cameras. They are fantastic cameras if you are new to using cellular cameras, because inside here all there is an on-off button. It's very simple. It's off or on. That's it. There are 4 status lights here. One of them says connecting, the other one says connected, one says not connected, and then there is live aim. So live aim is a little bit of a feature we're going to explore when we go and set this camera up. There is a battery meter in here with LEDs, and then there's also your connect button. And it says press once for test image, hold 3 seconds for live aim. We're going to look at that in a little while. You'll see down here there's an eject button. That's where you push the button and your battery tray will slide out. One thing again that I like about these battery trays is you can either load one side, and it tells you which side to load. You can either load one side with 8 batteries and use just 8 batteries, or you can put batteries in both sides and have 16 batteries. Now, a little tip that I will give you about these battery trays or anything you're going to insert into your camera, I like to use some dielectric grease on the contacts and also in the contact hole down here for your external power source. That way, if any moisture gets in there, it's going to help prevent any corrosion and give you good contact between your battery or power source and your camera. Just a little preventative maintenance that I like to do. And sometimes I will even put some on the seal around the camera and the seal around the battery box. It just helps to keep them soft and pliable. And now that we've got this camera unboxed, we've taken a look at we talked about the features of it. We've looked at the camera. We are moving along in the process, and the next step is to talk about how we're going to power this camera. We've talked about some of the features of this camera. We have taken the camera out of the box and taken a look at it. Now let's talk about ways to power the camera. Keep in mind, I am going to talk about different things that you can use to power your camera. As I do, I will post a link to the review I did on each individual one as we go along here, so you can take a closer look at it if you want. And I will also put a link, Amazon link, in the comments and description of this video, so if you like what you see, you can click on it and go buy your own. And when we talk about these powering options, I'm going to discuss them from what I consider to be the least desirable all the way up to my favorite option. So let's start off with AA batteries in the battery tray. This camera has a nice feature to it where you can run this camera on either 8 batteries or 16 batteries. Personally, I do not use AA batteries in any of my cameras at all. One, I usually find that I only get about 2, maybe 3 months time out of them, depending upon how I have my settings. Also because I live in the Northeast, it gets very cold, and you have to use lithium-ion batteries, which are more expensive than regular alkaline batteries. And I just don't like the fact that batteries are so expensive right now. And to put 16 batteries into this every couple months, multiply that by, I think I have 14 trail cameras, that's a lot of batteries, and that's a lot of money in batteries. So I do not put AA batteries into any of my cameras. However, if you are interested in keeping the footprint of your camera small and want a little bit better option than the batteries, then let's look at Moultrie's rechargeable battery pack. This lithium-ion battery pack slides into the bottom of the camera just like the battery tray does, and it clips into place, and it keeps the footprint of the camera the same size. One of the nice things about this pack is it has a button on the bottom, so you can click on it and the lights will light up and show you how much battery life you have left in that battery. And then what you do is you put this camera out in the woods with the battery pack in it, let it run and do its thing, and when the battery gets low, when I use lithium packs, I usually change the battery out about 30%. I will go with a fully charged battery into the woods, pop the dead one out, pop the new one in, turn the camera back on, and it's ready to go. Take the battery pack home, put it on the charger, and charge it back up, and just wait till I need a new battery pack. I like to have 2 or 3 battery packs extra. I like to have, let's call it 2 packs for every 3 or 4 cameras. So you have extra batteries laying around. If you're running 2 or 3 cameras, you want to be able to change out all those batteries at the same time. And it does cost a little bit more up front. I think these batteries are around $50 or $60. But if you swap the battery out twice, you've already broken even with what it costs to run AA batteries. And these batteries will last for years. This is the first pack I have bought from Moultrie. However, I use lithium rechargeable packs in my Tactacam cameras, and some of those I've had for 2 or 3 years already, and they just keep recharging over and over again. It is a great option for running your camera. The only drawback I see to it is that you're only going to get about the same amount of camera life as you do running your AA's. And again, this greatly is dependent upon what your settings are in your camera and how many pictures you're getting every day. That is a huge determining factor on how long your battery is going to last in your camera. So I have found that what works best for me is external battery boxes. What I started using originally about 5 or 6 years ago is this HME solar battery box. This has inside of it a nickel metal hydride battery with, I think, 7.5 amp hours of capacity. And I put this box, buy this box, charge it fully, then I put it in the woods, and I can keep this box on a camera for 6 months, maybe 5 months. And then it still is working, but I choose to swap it out with another one just to make sure it stays fully charged. The solar panel on the top, if you get direct sunlight all day long, it will keep your battery charged. However, I'm in the Northeast, and everywhere I've got a camera is in the woods. So I try and put them facing south, and so they can get some sun, but there's tree cover, especially in the early season, and there's tree branches and shadows, so they don't always stay fully charged. But what you're relying on is the capacity of the battery that's inside. Now, I purchased these on Amazon. I think they're anywhere between $50 and $60. The price fluctuates. I have had to change the battery out inside 2 of the 12 that I have over the years. And those batteries, just so you know, are about $18 to $20 to replace that internal battery. So, again, the same thing as the lithium pack. If you recharge this twice on your camera in, call it 8 months, you have already paid for this before your first year is up. So that is one of the things I like about these boxes. They get a much longer life, and they are over time much cheaper than running AA's or your lithium pack. They come with a chew-proof cable on them, and this cable plugs right into the bottom of your camera, and it's ready to go, and it is a nice setup. I just leave the box setting at the base of the tree, run the camera up, or run the cable up the tree to the camera and attach it to the camera, and I'm ready to go. I have recently discovered these solar panels from Herd 360. Now, I will explain to you why I love these things. I mentioned that the battery inside here is about 8 amp hours of capacity. Well, the battery inside this is 24 amp hours of capacity. So it has triple the capacity that this box has. The other features I like about this panel are that there are multiple cables in the bottom of here, and it comes with all the different cables, as multiple ports. So some cameras have different connector sizes than other cameras, so it comes with cables that you can take this off of a Moultrie camera and put it on a Spy Point or a Tacticam and use it anywhere you want to use it. Now, it is larger in size than some of the other options, but again, you can just leave it setting next to the tree, at the base of the tree. The solar panel will help keep this battery charged. Now, also, just like any solar panel, if you keep it in the woods and you do not have direct sunlight all day long, the battery will eventually run out and go dead. But the solar panel helps to keep it charged. In fact, you can see the little green lights on because it is charging right now from the lights that I'm using in my living room to film this video. Another feature that I like about this panel, which is a really neat option, is all the way on the end here, there is a USB out port. So if for some reason you're in the woods and your cell phone dies and you need to charge it, you can plug it into this battery and you can charge your cell phone. Or if you're out camping, you can use this cell phone to run a little USB powered fan that you might have in your tent, or some lights, or charge a camera, or charge your lights, anything you want to use it for. And you could take it and set it on a rock in the sunlight all day long and let it stay charged. It is a great option for camping, so it has other uses besides just hunting. But I love this one. Now, it is also the most expensive option at about $110, but if I do the math on my cameras and realize that I can have this camera in the woods for about 5 or 6 months before I change it out, or this battery in the woods for 5 or 6 months before I change it out, I should be able to keep this one in the woods at well over a year running without having to take it home and recharge it or swap it out with a charged one. So that alone, to me, having the convenience of putting my camera in the woods, setting it there, and just letting it go, not having to disturb the area, to drag my scent around, to spook game while I'm going in there, is the main reason I use some of these externals. To me, if I have to go there every couple months and change batteries, it defeats the whole purpose of using a cell cam in the first place. I want to put this Edge Pro out there, let it set in the woods, and do its thing for months without having to walk out there until I want to go hunting at that spot. So that is our options for powering your camera. So you've got all kinds of options, and whatever works best for you works best for you. Don't let anybody tell you that this is the right way or wrong way to do it. Now that we've talked about the power options, we are ready to activate this camera and start setting it up and get it out in the woods. So let's get this thing up and running and start taking some pictures. Now that we are ready to set this camera up, I am going to use this rechargeable pack that I have to set the camera up. Once I get it in the woods, that is not what I'm going to use permanently, but for this video, that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to put that battery in there. Before you set this camera up and you're able to use it, you're going to have to take your cell phone or your iPad or whatever it is, go to the App Store and download the Moultrie mobile app. You're going to download that app and open it up and set up an account. I already have my account set up, but I'm going to go to the top left side to that little icon there for your account. And if you scroll down about 2/3 of the way, there's credit card information. Click on that and enter your credit card information in. That helps you get one step ahead when we go to set up this camera. And you will get billed to that credit card for this camera and any other camera that you set up. Once you do that, if you see up at the top, you see account device. We are going to, activate device. We're going to click on that and it will show you either you can enter the information in the manual or you scan it. Now, if you look on the inside of the door, there's a little QR code there. And I'm going to select scan label and I am going to hold it on there and boom, it pops up. It already figured out what camera it is and it's going to go over your plan options. So for me personally, especially just for setting this up for this video, I am going to select build monthly because I like to shut my cameras off at the end of the hunting season. And I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to select the standard plan for $9.99 a month at 1,000 for 1,000 images. Depending upon how you have this camera set up and how you use it, you may need to select an unlimited plan or a different plan. But for what I'm doing now, I am selecting the standard plan. So I'm going to select, basically choose standard monthly at the bottom. It tells me what I have done and what I'm going to be charged. I'm going to select next. And then my credit card information pops up. It's on file, so it's already pre-selected, use the card on file. I click continue, and this explains what I'm being charged today. I'm getting charged $3.42 today because it is a prorated amount and we are only 9 days away from the end of the billing cycle. So I'll click the pay $3.42 today. And now here is my camera and it's a receipt showing me what I'm setting up and what camera I have activated. And if I select next, it tells you initial settings for this camera. Okay, so camera name. Now, we all probably change the names. You don't leave it to what it is, but I will write a number on my camera and set the number in here. It's like number 1 for this camera. I'll put number 1, and then I will put a name after that. That helps me quickly and easily pick out which camera is which, because I can see I have number 1. So next year when I go to reactivate all my cameras, it's very simple to do. So for upload frequency, I have immediate selected. I am going to keep that selected on immediate because when we're setting the camera up out in the woods next, we want that camera to transmit pictures as soon as possible so we know that camera is working and it has a good signal and it's connected. The capture mode, I changed that to photo and video because I like to have videos. And then if you scroll down a little bit, we're going to see detection delay. I set that at 15 seconds. That is another setting that I leave like that because of the when we're out there, I don't want a long delay. But we'll talk about some of these settings in a minute and how we adjust them for what we need. But to set the camera up, that's what I like to have this setting at so I know it's working when I'm out in the woods. Click done. And then, so for smart capture, I don't use the smart capture feature on this camera. I want to select all activity. I've never tried the smart capture feature yet. I may mess around with it a little bit in the future, but for right now, I'm going to select all activity. Click next. The on-demand feature we already mentioned is not available yet, but I will use it when it comes out. And then now we're ready to set up the camera. You can watch this quick video in here if you want, but I'm going to go through it right now anyways. So I'm going to click next, and it tells you to open up the battery box, put batteries in it, which we already have done. So I click next, and then all I'm going to do is slide that power button to on. And what you will see happen here is the LEDs will all start flashing and lighting up. It's showing you on the app what's going to happen, and here they go. They're starting to flash now, and it's going through its whole process of getting connected. So I'm gonna set that camera there and let it do its thing. It takes a little while, and sometimes you may have to turn the camera off and turn it back on again, but it's going to connect and start working. I'll select next. Now, activation is complete. If you select, are you ready to deploy your camera, it's going to bring you to a screen where it's going to show you how to aim the camera and everything else. So we're not going to do that right now because we're just setting it up inside to make sure it's connected and working before we go out in the woods. So I'm going to click done. As a reminder to turn your camera off. And here we are back to my gallery screen. I'm going to go to devices on the bottom right and select that. And as you can see, where the blue bar is, it says it's pending its first check-in. So the camera is connected. The little connected light has come on. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that, but it is connected and it's pending its first check-in. So let's go to the settings of this camera and let's talk a little bit about the settings. We're going to start from the top and work our way down. On demand, that's off because it's not working right now. Mount/aim. We are going to select that, and this will show you how to set up your camera to use your phone to see where the camera is aiming. We are going to go through that in a couple minutes when I take you out in the woods and we set this camera up and get it aimed properly. Health check. Nothing is there for the health check because the camera has not checked in yet. Smart zones. I have all the smart zones off. This is a neat feature in this camera which I have not experimented with yet, but you can blank out areas of your picture that you don't want it to trigger your camera. I've used this with like a Ring doorbell camera at my house and it seems to work, so hopefully the technology works well in this camera, but I am not going to use it right now. Let's go to smart capture. We talked about that. We have it set for all activity, and that may be something you want to change or play with, or I probably will as well, but not when I'm first setting the camera up. And then let's go to your settings. At the beginning, we talked about the camera name. I have the power source set for rechargeable battery pack, and our upload frequency is immediately, and our video is set to photo and video. Scrolling down farther, video resolution, I'm going to change that to full HD 1080p. I'm going to leave video selection set to 15 seconds. Sensitivity. This camera comes set to medium, and I usually leave all my cameras on medium. But if you start noticing that you're getting too many pictures or not enough, you may try and adjust that to either low or high sensitivity and see if something changes for you and the camera starts working better for your setup. Detection delay, again, we set that for 15 seconds just for when we're setting this camera up, and that setting gets adjusted once I deploy the camera. Video detection delay, 30 seconds, and then a few other settings at the bottom. I have it set for Fahrenheit. Clear the memory. If you want to clear the memory out, you can select that and it will clear your memory. Info strip, that is the little strip at the bottom of your picture. I have that turned on. Daily test image, I am going to turn that on. That is because this is another way to monitor your camera and make sure it's functioning out in the woods. So every day it's going to snap a picture and send it to you. That way you know your camera is working. If you don't get that check-in picture, you may not realize your camera stopped working, and you can now either go to your camera or figure out why it's not working. That comes in real handy, especially when you're using AA batteries, because they may die real fast and you don't realize it because you had a cold night and now you've got to go change batteries. And don't forget to select Save Settings on the bottom there. And now that brings us back to the device screen. We are going to go back, and I'm going to pull down or swipe down and see if the camera has checked in yet. There it is. The camera has checked in while we were talking. And you can see our battery signal, our battery percentage is 96% and our signal is great. I'm going to select gallery. And there we go. We got some pictures coming in already while we were sitting here talking. So just to go over a couple of the other options here on this app, if the bottom right, if you see it says devices, you can click on that. That brings you to your devices. And then the center M button brings up some other options. So map, activity, weather, and game plan. We're going to close out of that. And then the button on the left, gallery, that brings you to your picture gallery where you can manage all of your pictures. And then in the upper left-hand corner, that little My Account icon, that brings you to where you can adjust everything in your account to benefit you the way you want it to be. Now, we have this camera up and running and sending pictures as I'm talking to you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut this camera off because I don't want it to be snapping 100 pictures while I'm getting ready to go set it up. And we are going to go outside, set this camera up, and I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to set this camera up to get the best functionality, we'll say, out of the camera, and hopefully you have the best experience you can with these Moultrie cameras. So let's get outside, let's set this thing up and get it taking pictures. Well, we have moved outside to my 1,000-acre ranch, and I'm getting ready to mount this thing in the woods to monitor some deer. I told you in the beginning of this video that I do not like using the straps. They seem to be very limited in motion and adjustment. I mean, hey, sometimes they work. If they work for you, great. For me, I have picked these, you may not be able to see them very well, but I'll put a link in the upper left-hand or upper right-hand corner. These HME trail camera holders, they work great. You maybe just have 4 of them here because I've been filming some other videos, but they work fantastic for me. I will put a link to these as well as everything else in this video in the comments and the description, so you can buy them if you like. But it has a, there is a screw mount in the bottom of it, and you can screw your camera into that mount, and then there's a little wing nut on the bottom to adjust, and then a wing nut on the side so you can lift the camera up. And here we go. I've got my camera set up, I've got the wing nut tightened, and now I can adjust this camera, turn it left or right, up and down, rotate it whichever way I want to move this camera, so I can set it up the best that's going to work for me. Now, one thing to keep in mind with these cameras is they work the best when they're mounted about 3 feet off the ground and they were aiming directly horizontal. I have seen people mount cameras before where they have them up in a tree because they don't want somebody to steal them, aiming down. That greatly reduces your trigger area by doing that. And I've seen people mistakenly mount a camera and it's kind of aiming uphill. That also reduces your trigger area. So you want this camera mounted horizontal, looking straight out. And one other tip with that too is if you're monitoring a trail, don't put it shooting across the trail so the deer are walking straight left and right. You want it looking down the trail. So put it on the trail and angle it down the trail. That's going to give you your best triggering speed, and it's also going to give you the best pictures rather than have a deer cross right in front of the camera and it's going to kind of blank things out for you. So now that we've got this, this thing mounted here, I am going to click on the settings for the Edge 2 Pro, and I'm going to go to where it says mount/aim. First things first though, I've got to turn this camera on. So while that's booting up, I'm going to select mount/aim, and this gives you some good pointers on setting the camera up. And it's pretty much going to tell you exactly what I just told you. Oh, other than I forgot to tell you, clear vegetation away. If you've got a big branch waving in front of your camera like this, it's going to constantly set the camera off and it's going to be a real hassle. So make sure you clear vegetation away. I have gone out with a weed whacker before and weed whacked down brush in front the best I can. So we're going to select next here. And what we're going to do when we aim this camera is we're going to connect it to our cell phone, which is a great way to mount this camera and get it working. The other way is just turn it on and let it start sending pictures to your phone and kind of trial and error movement on the camera, which works too. This is just a little bit of an easier way. And I'm going to click connect to smartphone. Now what it tells you to do is press and hold the connect button down here. So once you press and hold that connect button, you hold it for a few seconds and then the live aim button starts flashing blue. And now I am going to let go of that connect button and it's connecting to my phone. So my phone is scanning and the camera is scanning, and in a second, here it goes, it is initiating the connection. So once we get set up here, there you go. Now I am looking at a live view, pretty live view. Let's see here, next. Oh, I gotta select this whole thing. So allow while using app. Next. Next. Oh, it knocked out of there. So we're going to go back in again and we're going to do the mount aim thing again because I went right through it. Sorry about that. Press and hold, and I am going to wait till that blue light comes on. There it goes. It's flashing, so I'm letting go. This is going to connect again. But that image on your phone is going to show you where the camera is aiming, and that's going to let you move your camera and adjust it the way you want it without having to take the trial and error pictures. Or the other thing that used to happen with cameras is you'd set it up and, oh, it looks pretty good, then you'd leave and you start getting pictures at home and your camera is totally off-centered or something. So this sort of alleviates that whole problem. There we go. Now we're moving. It's not the greatest of updating speed, but you can see that it is definitely working and it's kind of updating every few seconds. But you can look at that picture on your phone and see where your camera is aiming to make sure that your camera is aimed in the proper place. Once you have your camera set up and aiming the way you want, you're gonna click next, and then it's updating location and deployment's complete, and we're going to go back to our device screen. So if we now go on the bottom left and click back into gallery, we should start getting pictures anytime soon of this camera taking pictures of me talking to you and transmitting them to me while we're out here. All the lights are off. And now what I'm going to try here is I'm going to press the connect button. It says press once for a test image, hold 3 seconds for live aim. So I'm going to hit that connect button and that should send me a test picture. And there we go. We've got pictures coming through now that are coming to our app. So we know the camera is working. Now it took about 30 seconds, maybe about a minute for that to come through, but probably because I have this set on video too. So it's got to take that 15-second video and then transmit everything. Now that we have it up and running and we know it's taking pictures, I'm just going to close that door, latch it, and it's ready to go. I will now go back into my settings and adjust my settings to where I want them to be permanently when this thing is in the woods, so it's not taking pictures every 15 seconds or transmitting immediately. So we've got this camera up and running. As you can see, it is very simple to use. It has some really neat features that are a little bit different than the regular Edge 2. So the Pro is a great camera with some extra features in it you may like. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'm glad you came along. I hope you learned something. Good luck this season. I hope you have a good experience with these cameras like I've been having so far, and I wish you nothing but tight lines and short blood trails. I'll see you on the next video.